Plaintiff Jeffrey Dino says he and the defendant are both wrestling promoters, and he claims the defendant is a fraud who was arrested for embezzling $12,000 from a hot dog stand where he worked. Jeffrey's suing the defendant for breach of contract. Defendant Donald Aguayo says Jeffrey is an alcoholic and a trust fund baby who tries to buy his friends. Donald claims Jeffrey once paid to take 10 men to a brothel in Reno just to impress them, and he insists Jeffrey's suing the wrong person today.
Start with you.
Let me say, Donald and I are both wrestling promoters. But please understand how loosely I use that in referring to this man. This man was once dating 2 women at the same time. Too afraid to break up with one, he had the other one do it for him. This man also, so untrained, so untalented of a professional wrestler, he couldn't find his niche. So he decided to steal one of the most famous wrestling family's names, the Andersons, and take it for himself and claim to be an actual member of this family. You might know him, he was a part of the Four Horsemen, and he had a couple brothers. I have footage, if you'd like to see the footage.
Yeah.
You know, boys, a lot of guys have passed through the ring and faced either Chase or myself, or as a team. We can go down a list that's a mile long, and we're just going to add you as a footnote at the end of it. When it comes to family, there's Lars, Gene, Ole, Arn, Brad Bryant, Chase, and myself. We are the Andersons.
So he was an imposter.
Yes, he was.
All wrestlers are imposters, Your Honor, including this gentleman right here who has to pay people tens of thousands of dollars to come and lose matches to him so he's relevant in the business.
He doesn't make any money, is what you're saying.
I don't know if he makes any money or not, but he's a trust fund baby, so he doesn't need to worry about money.
I'm not also the first person to go after this man for money. In 2003, this man was convicted of embezzlement from a hot dog stand that he worked at and managed. If you'd like, I have the best you got. I have all the case files on that as well.
Hot dog stand.
That's the best you got. Okay.
And they actually sued him.
Yes, sir. He embezzled $12,000.
Wow. Worth of hot dogs?
Your Honor,
a lot of hot dogs.
What he doesn't have there is the lace was later acquitted and overturned in court.
Defendant Donald Aguayo is being sued by a fellow wrestling promoter who claims Donald was once arrested for embezzling $12,000 from a hot dog stand.
You give me some background on him, sir.
Mr. Dino, like I said, he is a trust fund child and an alcoholic. He is so desperate to be friends with people that he takes them on these outlandish trips. He goes cross country with them. He takes them to strip clubs and buys them lap dances. A couple of years ago, he took them to a brothel in Reno, to a group of 10 guys.
10?
Your Honor, I have never been to Reno.
You paid for it?
I have never been to Reno, never gone to a brothel.
You need to be his friend, dog.
That's why I'm standing over here.
Yeah, you're taking 10 at a time to the brothel?
In regards to alcohol, completely untrue. I do enjoy whiskey, but no, sir.
That's not alcohol.
Not an alcoholic.
That's not an alcoholic. Your Honor, you'd be far pressed to find a picture of him anywhere on any social media where he's not holding a beverage of some kind. I bet if you were to do a breathalyzer test on him now, it would come back somewhat positive.
I'd be more than happy to take that.
All right, and tell me why you're suing him today for $300 breach of contract.
Yes, in April of 2003, I was contacted by Donald to supply our wrestling ring. My wrestling promotion, SoCal Pro Wrestling, offers services for our equipment to promoters such as Donald, who doesn't have the equipment. And the event was on July 19th, 2013, and everything is to be paid at the end of the evening at every show. At this particular show, myself and my crew showed up. We set up the ring as asked by Donald. And towards the end of the night, everyone started realizing it was a disaster of a show. There was maybe 12 people tops there. I heard from the venue that there was maybe half of that were paid.
How many people did the venue accommodate?
They were expecting 1,000 people. The venue had.
They were expecting quite a few people.
The venue had told me that they were staffed for 1,000 people. They were furious, obviously, as you can understand, the entire night. And then at the end of the night, what happened was I went to look for Donald, and he was nowhere to be found. So I started text messaging him,
you weren't the only one looking for him that night.
I was looking for him. I called him, text message, no reply. The next day, He ended up replying to my Facebook message. I do have that here. Okay. He agreed to pay me the $300.
Let me hear from him before we get to this specific evidence that you have. Sir?
Your Honor, I did contact him on the
party and no one came?
Your Honor, I did contact him on the behalf of someone else. I was working with another promoter who was to be the financially responsible party in this case. That other promoter assumed he had the money in place.
What happened with the event?
The event was terrible. Mr. Dino parked his big truck in front of the door so nobody could access it to start with.
So those 1,000 people, the reason they didn't come because his truck was parked in front of the door. Gotcha.
Your Honor, I own a box truck with nothing.
Sir, you're going to actually dignify that?
I was saying I own a box truck.
I was not in charge of any of the media or anything. The only thing I had to deal with was the booking of the vendors and the talent.
I got you, sir. And had he not had his truck parked there, those 1,000 people would have been able to come in.
I know people were turned away, but that's neither here nor there in this. All along, I've told Mr. Dino that the other person was going to be the responsible party. He's known this all along. He never even went after this person. He wants to go after me because it'll make him look better in front of his friends.
How?
He has to pay his wrestlers 3 to 4 times what I would pay them for the same work.
Why? Because of your reputation?
Because they like me better than him.
Why?
Because I'm a nicer guy than he is.
What about this? He hands me a Facebook.
Yes, sir.
Jeff Dino, when will I be paid my $300? DJ Anderson, as soon as I recoup from my agreement with the bar promoter. I went to go get it from him last night and he wasn't where he said he would be. You said you'd pay him. You didn't say anything about someone else would pay him. You said you would.
I have no knowledge of those. I don't know where he printed those from, but I had never sent those messages to him.
Take a look at it. Not your Facebook?
No.
How about that one?
I do recall telling him I would help him to do what I can to get paid. In fact, the promoter of this event, I had to sue the promoter myself to get the money I was owed for the event, and I got a judgment against him.
What were you owed for?
I was owed a fee of $5,000.
To do what?
To book the event, book the vendors, book the wrestlers.
Defendant Donald Aguayo is being sued by a fellow wrestling promoter who claims Donald was once arrested for embezzling $12,000 from a hot dog stand.
Who'd you make the agreement with, sir?
I only made it with Donald.
Did you talk to this third party he's talking about an agreement?
I have a signed statement here from this third party, and he's claiming that he had no part in the event other than to be a wrestler, a part of it. You did wrestle that evening, but he had no other responsibilities.
What's the person you're talking about, their first name?
Christopher.
All right. Christopher was a friend of Donald, was a friend, by the way, up until the event at Spin nightclub that happened on the date of July 9. My role for this event was strictly to connect talent for the event, perform myself. I never had any ownership nor financial gain outside of being a performer in the ring during this event in question.
Your Honor, I have a copy of the judgment that was given by the court back in December that names Christopher as the owner and is a judgment in my favor.
All right, and what's your point here?
My point is that I was, just like Mr. Dino, an independent contractor for this event. I had no financial
Contracted by?
Christopher.
But you're the one that made the agreement with him, so you're gonna have to go after Christopher. He made no agreement with Christopher. He made an agreement with you.
But he understood he needed to collect from Christopher.
No, he denies. Christopher denies that you were his agent.
Of course he's gonna deny that.
And the one statement you have here that you admit to being valid is doing what I can to help you get paid. What did you do to help him get paid?
I went after Christopher. I told him that he needed to pay his.
You won the judgment?
Yes, I did.
All right, good. We'll pass it on to him. You went after your 300 is your judgment. Have a good day.
No big deal, man.
You really are a dirtbag piece of aren't you?
Look who's talking, man. You
man. Oh, okay.
You know what? You're just a.
I'm not even gonna.
Yeah, of course not.
I wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors.
You too.